Unlock 3 miraculous secrets revealed in this divine message before October 13th for ultimate transformation. The words glimmered on the tightly folded letter that had arrived at Sarah's doorstep, thick with both promise and mystery. A chill ran down her spine. Was this a sign sent by St. Jude himself? As the feast day of her beloved saint approached, Sarah felt the anticipation in the air, electric and alive. The village buzzed with excitement, yet she stood at a crossroads, engulfed in the dark clouds of doubt. Her heart ached with the struggles of her young son. Days turned into sleepless nights, the worry of his illness swallowing them whole. Doctors shook their heads, unable to find answers. Yet, amidst her sorrow, Sarah clung to her unwavering faith and obsession with fostering hope in her community. She gathered the villagers in the chapel to pray, candles flickering in fervent harmony with their whispered hopes. The chapel, once filled with laughter, felt burdened with anxious whispers as they searched for divine intervention. Deep in her soul, Sarah felt it, the first miraculous secret stirring within the letter. She unfolded the creased parchment, reading the cryptic words aloud to her fellow villagers, "Embrace the light, and I shall reveal." Just then, the chapel lit up more vibrantly than they had ever seen, light radiating through stained glass like a heavenly glow, an undeniable sign. Gasps echoed through the crowd, leaving hearts racing and faith rekindled. Days went by, intertwined with apprehension and hope. In whispered conversations, doubt began to seep in. Can prayer really heal? Some murmured. Even Sarah felt the intensity of skepticism tugging at her heart. Could she stand alone, defending her belief against the currents of reason? The pressure weighed on her, but the rich aroma of prayer and community insisted she stand resolute. Before we continue, I need to tell you about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, click the bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can leave a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, tell me in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. The climax of her struggle came one fateful evening. As panic roared through her heart, she resolved it was time for an all-night prayer vigil. Trust in St. Jude, she cried, her voice echoing through the village square, drawing the weary and the weary-hearted into a shared embrace of hope. One by one, faces melded into a crowd of believers, their collective faith a poignant tapestry of strength against despair. As they prayed, shadows seemed to dance in encouragement, pulsating with each fervent request. Hold on to your faith, they whispered, eyes moist with devotion. With the feast day of St. Jude on the horizon, they could feel something stirring in the air, a palpable energy, like electricity weaving through the darkness. October 13th dawned quietly, yet the village felt charged, a tension hanging thick. In the depths of their hearts, they felt it, the awaited miracle might just be on the horizon. Could St. Jude answer their calls when hope seemed out of reach? Or were these supernatural signs merely fleeting glimmers masking an even greater journey ahead? As despair threatened to overshadow faith, they prepared for revelations beyond their imagination. The dawn light filtered gently into the chapel as October 13th arrived, bringing with it a hushed reverence. The air seemed thicker than usual, a fusion of expectation and prayer, wrapping around the villagers like a warm embrace. As they gathered for the morning service, Sarah felt the weight of their collective hope pressing down on her, igniting a precious fire within her heart. Today, we will witness something profound, she whispered to herself, as she arranged the candles on the altar, each flickering flame a beacon of devotion. The villagers began to fill the pews, their murmurs weaving through the chapel like threads through fabric, binding them closer together in shared belief. Sarah took her place, feeling every eye upon her, and whispered a prayer of courage. As the service commenced, the priestess' voice rose like a melody, echoing off the walls. He spoke of faith and miracles, of how St. Jude was a beacon of hope for the hopeless. In our darkest hour, he listens. We must ask, and we shall receive. A ripple of energy surged through the crowd, and Sarah felt each heart beating in unison, a powerful rhythm of faith. As they prayed, a sudden stillness filled the room. The atmosphere shifted, an almost tangible presence enveloping them. In quiet awe, the villagers turned their gazes towards the stained glass windows, which suddenly shimmered brighter, the figures of saints illuminated as if touched by the divine. Could it be? A young woman gasped, gripping her friend's hand tightly. With a profound hush, Sarah stepped forward, her heart racing. "Dear friends, let us embrace the light that has come upon us," she called out, her voice steady yet trembling with the weight of the moment. "Saint Jude, we seek your intercession. We believe that miracles are birthed from faith. We trust in you to guide us, to heal our hearts and spirits." As they prayed together, a gentle wind stirred through the chapel. It was like a breath of heaven brushing past them, stirring the flickering candles and wrapping around the villagers. The moment felt sacred, a fleeting glimpse of the divine touching the ordinary. Tears glistened in Sarah's eyes, her heart swelling with gratitude and hope. Then, her son's laughter echoed through her mind, the sound like a distant bell chiming with possibility. She closed her eyes, envisioning him being surrounded by light, free from pain. The image sent shivers down her spine. "This is it," she affirmed within her spirit. "This is the moment we have prayed for." Suddenly, her eyes flew open as a voice broke through the silence. "Sarah!" A familiar figure emerged from the back. It was the village elder, his face battered by the years, yet his gaze fierce with determination. "There are whispers of a miracle walking through our village. A traveler with the touch of healing." Excitement surged through the crowd, rippling like a wave. Could it be true? The rumors spread like wildfire, igniting even the most fragile hearts with hope. What if this traveler bore the answer to their prayers? What if they were on the brink of witnessing the very miracle they had longed for? As the congregation buzzed with anticipation, Sarah couldn't shake the feeling that destiny was unfurling right before them. Was this traveler a sign of the divine? What secrets would unfold next? The moments swirled in an exhilarating dance of faith and wonder. Sarah clutched her rosary, heart racing. Would this traveler bring the miracle they had sought? Would he show them a path out of despair into the arms of hope? With faith taking root like seeds in fertile soil, the village prepared to meet a fate intertwined with their deepest prayers. But what awaited them in the embrace of this new and mysterious soul? The atmosphere shimmered with unspoken expectancy as the villagers caught wind of the elder's proclamation. Whispers filled the chapel, a swell of voices rising and falling like the gentle waves of a serene sea. Each heart beat in sync, a chorus of uplifted spirits yearning for something more, something extraordinary. Could he truly heal? An elderly man pondered aloud, his gnarled hands clasped in prayer. Is it real? A girl's voice trembled with hope, her bright eyes scanning the quiet faces of the crowd. There was magic in their unity, an electric charge that sparked in the air a divine invitation. Sarah felt her own heart surge with anticipation. "We must be ready," she spoke softly, almost to herself, but her words floated outwards, drawing the attention of those nearby. "We must open ourselves to the possibility of a miracle." As the service came to a close, the villagers were called outside. The sun shone brightly, a golden orb in the vast blue sky, and the warm breeze danced around them, carrying the scent of blooming wildflowers and fresh earth. They gathered in a loose circle, a tapestry woven from every age and background, all sharing a common thread of hope. "Where is the traveler?" another villager called out. "We must not wait." Just then, the church doors creaked open. There he stood, a stranger wrapped in a cloak as deep as night, his face half hidden in the shadows. His presence radiated a calming energy, washing over them like a gentle tide. Gasps of awe echoed through the crowd, a palpable energy surrounded him, the kind that ignited sparks in the hearts of believers. "Peace," the traveler said, his voice low and steady, a soothing balm to their restless spirits. "I have felt your prayers. I have come bearing gifts of healing and hope." As he stepped into the light, the villagers could see his eyes, bright like twin stars. Each gaze seemed to meet them in a unique way, sparking something deep within. A shiver of recognition rippled through Sarah. Was it the promise of miracles, or the arduous journey they had all traveled to arrive at this moment? "Gather closer," he encouraged, an inviting warmth nestled in his tone. "It is in the act of community that we will discover the deeper layers of healing together." Hands reached out towards him, faces filled with wonder and desire. The air shimmered with an almost magical intensity. Sarah felt the urgency of the moment, whispers of hope coursed through her veins. Could he truly perform the miraculous? In that sacred circle, the traveler invited each person to speak their pain, their struggles. One mother spoke of her longing for peace in her home, another shared the illness that had taken hold of a dear friend. As each story unfolded, the stranger listened, nodding, his eyes twinkling with compassion. "Through sharing, we create a space for healing," he said, "for when we lay down our burdens before the light, the weight grows lighter." Each word hung in the air, softening hearts and igniting faith anew. In that moment, Sarah grasped that they were not just witnesses, they were active participants in this divine tapestry unfolding before them. They were merging their stories, weaving their faith in intricate design of longing and love. As the traveler prepared to offer prayers for healing, a hushed silence settled over the gathering, anticipation wrapping around them like a living tapestry. Would they unlock the profound secrets of divine transformation buried in their souls? Would they find solace and release in the embrace of faith under his guiding touch? As Sarah stood, eyes closed, she felt the weight of the moment pressing in. This was her prayer, her hope, and the miracle she longed to see, but little did she know, the answers they sought were intertwined with a deeper question of faith that awaited to be uncovered. As the hush deepened, the traveler raised his hands, a gesture both commanding and comforting. His presence seemed to command the very air, and an ethereal calm enveloped the crowd. In that sacred space, the villagers breathed together, hearts aligning in a rhythm of shared vulnerability. "Let us call forth the light," he began, his voice wrapping around them like a tender embrace. "And let us invite healing into our lives with each word." A serene energy pulsed through the circle. Sarah could feel it. It swayed through the air, wrapping around her heart, loosening the tight knots of worry which had lived there for so long. The traveler lowered his voice, almost a whisper now, yet the strength and authority radiating from him made the words echo within every spirit present. "Let us pray in faith. In your wounds, find your strength. In your darkness, find your light. This is the first secret." Instantly, a warmth enveloped Sarah, resonating within her very core. The elders nodded knowingly, and children clutched their parents' hands tighter, sensing the gravity of this moment. As whispers of affirmation passed among them, Sarah felt something shift. It was an awakening, a stirring as if they had just taken their first steps on a path illuminated by hope. The traveler continued, "The second secret lies in your unity. The more we come together, the more powerful our prayers become. Each heart here is a thread, weaving a tapestry of divine strength. In unity, we harness the might of heaven." He looked into Sarah's eyes, and in that moment, she knew he was speaking directly to her. She felt a rush of clarity. The burdens they carried were meant to be shared. This closeness, this gathering, this was the very essence of their faith. As they joined hands, the prayer began to flow, a beautiful river of words, lifting spirits higher. "Let your prayers rise like incense," the traveler urged. "Allow them to float freely into the universe, and they shall return to you in abundance." The villagers murmured, sharing their concerns and intentions. Each name spoken, each tear shed created a beautiful melody, a unique offering to the heavens. And within that offering, the traveler revealed his final secret. The third secret is submission to grace. It is not just about seeking your own desires but trusting that the process can bring transformation beyond what you can envision. Sometimes, it's in the yielding that we find the miracles we so desperately seek. A profound silence met his words. The acknowledgement of surrender, of faith in a higher plan, turned their moment into one ripe with hope and possibility. Sarah felt a weight lift from her shoulders, an unshackling of her longing, replaced now with an expansive faith. With a slight smile, the traveler knelt among them. "Now, let us pray for the healing you desire, the miracles you seek." As they bowed their heads in reverence, an unexpected breeze swept through the circle, rustling the leaves, whispering secrets of the spirit. Within that peace, a sense of anticipation brewed, an understanding that something magnificent was about to happen, but before the prayers could unfold fully, a low rumble echoed in the distance, a rolling sound like thunder yet distant enough to confuse. Sarah's heart raced. Was it a warning? A sign? This deepening mystery hung in the air, wrapping around the villagers like a cloak, hinting at unknown revelations yet to come. Exhales of wonder unfolded, leaving them with questions that called for answers beyond what they imagined. The rumble pulsed through the air again, louder this time, setting hearts racing and causing the villagers to look around with wide eyes. There was an undeniable terrain of anticipation, the kind that thrummed with the promise of the divine. This was no mere sound from nature, it was as if the very heavens were speaking. "Stay grounded in your faith," the traveler urged, his voice calm yet firm. "Sometimes, the answers we seek come disguised in thunderous moments. Let us remain open." Sarah closed her eyes, focusing on the rhythm of her breath. She could feel the energy swirling around her. Faith whispers mixed with the distant rumble, creating a cadence that felt almost like the heartbeat of the earth, the pulse of the spirit, echoing with possibilities. With each gathering breath, the prayer intensified, rising as one, echoing through the valley. Souls intertwined, raising their voices higher, and the light was summoned forth once again. A deeper understanding washed over Sarah. The prayer wasn't just words, it was an embodiment of trust and transformation. As they prayed, she saw visions of those in need, the grieving widow, the ill child, the wanderer lost in despair. Each face lit up in her mind as like stars scattered across a night sky, each a reminder of who they were connecting with through their prayers, and then, through the haze of reverent connection, Sarah caught sight of a figure just beyond the trees, a shadow, a silhouette that seemed to pulse with light. Her heart quivered. Was this an angelic being sent to witness their gathering, or was it something more profound, yet to be revealed? The traveler lifted his head, eyes fixed towards that same spot. "Do you feel that presence?" he asked, infectious excitement in his voice. "Heaven is close, and we are on the verge of something extraordinary." The villagers turned their attention to the figure, whispers filling the air like gentle winds. The tension was sublime. Sarah felt herself being drawn to it, a magnetic pull that awakened a surge of divine curiosity within her soul. "Remain in prayer, my friends," the traveler beckoned. "Do not waver, for the light shines brightest in moments of uncertainty. It is in our united faith that we will unveil what is hidden." Fear danced with curiosity, it was intoxicating. Sarah's heart synchronized with the villagers, their collective breaths weaving a tapestry of belief. Suddenly, the low rumble shifted, and an explosion of light burst forth from the figure, illuminating the grove. Gasps filled the air as the silhouette transformed into something undeniably magnificent, a radiant being surrounded by a brilliance that felt like the dawn of a new day. Tears streamed down Sarah's cheeks, her spirit soaring as a sense of awe enveloped her. She sensed the divine was near, but questions still lingered in the back of her mind. What message was this being bringing? What revelations awaited them? The traveler raised his arms, a smile gracing his lips. The moment of divine intervention arrives. Let us open our hearts to receive this blessing. But as they leaned into the light's embrace, a gentle voice echoed through the air, a whisper fading into the stillness, leaving them suspending on the cusp of revelation. The words lingered like a sweet perfume, full of promise yet mysterious, compelling each heart to lean farther into faith. What could this divine messenger impart, and how would it change them all forever? The light pulsed gently, like the rhythmic glow of a heartbeat, enveloping the villagers in a blanket of divine grace. Sarah could see the faces around her, illuminated with a mixture of reverence, curiosity, and wonder. They were caught in an embrace, not just of the radiant figure but also of the moment, a moment that felt suspended in time, as if the universe held its breath, waiting for something sacred to unfold. The voice echoed again, soft yet powerful, pulling at their hearts with the tugs of truth. Fear not. I come not to bring judgment but to share the truth that lies within each of you. Each word flowed with assurance, wrapping around Sarah like a warm cloak in the brisk air. As if in concert, the villagers leaned in closer, a unified wave of anticipation surging amongst them. Within you lies the power to heal the broken, to uplift the fallen, and to ignite the flames of faith in the hearts of the weary. The figure's eyes glimmered with an unearthly light that pierced through their collective soul, awakening a deep longing for purpose. Sarah felt a stirring within her, as if the very essence of her being was being called to rise to answer a divine summons. Remember, the being continued, every prayer you send forth is a seed of love, planted into the fertile soil of creation. It is your devotion that allows these seeds to flourish and bloom into miracles. The words lifted into the air, weaving through the trees like tendrils of smoke, until they became boundless energy, touching the hearts of everyone gathered. Tears glistened in Sarah's eyes as she grasped the weight of this revelation. She felt the burdens of her neighbors, their hopes and fears swirling in the space around them. And in that moment, she understood her role in this divine orchestration, a call to be a vessel of hope and light. What can we do? She whispered, half to herself, half to the voice. Embrace the call of compassion. Let kindness be your guide, the radiant figure responded, sensing the urgency in her heart. Share what you have in abundance, love, prayers, and grace. For in your giving, you shall receive even greater gifts. As the villagers absorbed these truths, the atmosphere shifted once more. The light grew brighter, drawing them all into a space of connectedness. Shadows vanished as they turned toward one another, hearts beating in unison, recognizing not just their shared presence but their shared purpose. In this sacred moment, a profound sense of clarity washed over Sarah, intertwining with her spirit. She approached the light, feeling an unbreakable tie with the figure standing before them, an embodiment of hope and unity. Yet, even as joy blossomed within her, a mystery remained. What would these revelations cost them? What trials lay ahead that would require their strength? Together, they shall face their greatest challenges, the figure spoke again, sensing her unsettled heart. For trials refine your faith, and through perseverance, you shall unveil the victory that lies ahead. Do not fear the unknown, for the divine path is laid before you. The brilliance surrounding them began to dim again, retreating like the tide, but the echoes of truth lingered in the air. They stood as witnesses to something grand, a reminder that their collective faith had the power to shift the very fabric of their reality. Will you stand firm in your faith when faced with life's storms? The messenger's voice rang out one last time, leaving them with lingering questions and embers of hope burning brightly within their souls. The villagers exchanged knowing glances, their hearts ignited with excitement and purpose. What challenges would test their newfound resolve? And how would their journey unfold in pursuit of these divine instructions? The days that followed the encounter with the radiant figure were filled with fervent whispers and hushed discussions within the village. Sarah and her neighbors gathered in small groups, speaking about the weight of the truth that had been unveiled to them. Each one felt the pull of the divine message, as if it were a thread connecting their hearts to that moment, a moment they believed could change everything. With every sunrise, Sarah awoke with a renewed spirit. The light of the figure danced in her mind, encouraging her to step out into the world with a heart open to compassion. Each neighbor she encountered felt like an invitation to share the seeds of love that had been planted in her heart. How can I help? She found herself asking, as if each inquiry strengthened her resolve, yet, it wasn't long before those challenges began to surface. Whispers of misunderstanding and fear echoed through the village. Where once harmony reigned, a shadowy doubt crept in. Some villagers, doubting the sincerity of the glowing figure's words, grew hesitant. They wondered if their prayers could truly create miracles. Would their efforts even matter in a world so large and daunting? One evening, as twilight dipped the sky in hues of purple and gold, Sarah gathered a few friends under the ancient oaks at the village's edge. The weight of their concern hung heavy in the air. We must remind each other, she urged, warmth igniting her voice. It's in our coming together, in our shared purpose, that we can forge a path through fear. Her words carried strength, but the lingering questions echoed in her mind. How, she wondered, could they support each other during these uncertain times? The soft rustle of leaves above provided an answer. They could create a chain of kindness, a web woven from their shared experiences and gifts. Every smile, every act of compassion, would bind them tighter together. The next day, Sarah set out to plant this idea among the villagers. She approached those who hesitated, extending invitations to share their fears and hopes in a circle of light, a gathering of hearts where honesty and love could flourish. To her delight, many responded, eager for a space to express what they felt. On the evening of the first gathering, the villagers formed a circle, ignited by the flickering glow of candles. As each person spoke, Sarah noticed the heaviness lift. Individual fears transformed into communal strength, as prayerful support weaved through their words. They shared stories of struggle and faith, laughter mingling with tears, forming a tapestry of human connection. As the night deepened, they felt a pulse of energy wash over them, reminiscent of the brilliant figure who had come among them. Sarah's heart soared with the realization that they were summoning the light within. "This is our miracle," she exclaimed. "Together, we ignite the flames of faith that will guide us through." But as the gathering concluded, doubt still loomed in Sarah's heart. What if dark trials lay ahead that threatened their unity? What if they were called to stand against a storm beyond their understanding? Even as joy and gratitude filled the room, the whisper of the divine figure echoed in her thoughts. Will you stand firm in your faith when faced with life's storms? These worries simmered beneath the surface. Was everything they had built together fragile? Sarah's heart beat faster as she faced the gathering again. Were they truly ready for the challenges ahead? What if the trials would test their newfound resolve? The thought sent a shiver through her soul, igniting curiosity about the unseen battles lurking in the shadows. Would they find the strength to rise when called upon by the very faith they had nurtured? The mystery hung in the air, waiting to unfold. As morning light spilled into the village, Sarah awoke with a softness in her heart. She could still feel the warmth of the gathering. The laughter and tears lingered like a sweet perfume, yet the questions from the night before echoed still. Were they truly prepared for what lay ahead? She felt a call to deeper faith, a challenge to understand what it meant to stand firm amidst uncertainties. It was then, while she walked through the sun-dappled streets, that Sarah noticed two villagers quarreling outside their homes, the tension palpable between them. Pain apparently lingered beneath the surface, buried under the weight of pride. Instead of walking past, Sarah paused. She could feel akin to the radiant figure, urging compassion forward. What if our mission is to heal each other? She whispered to herself, stepping closer to the fray. Friends, she began softly, her voice cutting through the thick fog of anger. What if we opened our hearts to understanding instead of conflict? Is there not love beneath these shadows? To her surprise, the villagers halted their words, confused yet intrigued. She noticed how their hard expressions began to soften. It was a small moment, yet it signaled a shift, a reminder that light could break even the hardest of hearts. As they spoke, Sarah offered a listening ear. Each gentle word built a bridge, weaving a fragile but growing understanding among them. With every softening exchange, she felt the power of their collective spirit rising. Days turned into weeks, with Sarah at the helm of this burgeoning unity. The village transformed slowly. Kindness became a tide that lifted all boats. Neighbors shared food, laughter flowed freely, and help was offered at every corner. Yet, in every joy, the lingering shadows whispered doubt. Was it too easy, too fleeting? Then one stormy eve, the darkness broke upon them. The skies opened, unleashing torrents of rain that threatened to wash away many of their joyful endeavors. News came swiftly, a nearby river overflowed its banks, turning peaceful roads into rushing torrents. As panic gripped the village, Sarah felt the weight of fear creeping back. Should they scatter before the storm, or should they stand together, strong in their newfound faith? She felt the heartbeat of the radiant figure in her chest urging her forward. This was the moment to act, to rally her neighbors, to be a beacon of hope. "Gather!" she called, standing firm in the village square, defying the wind's howls. "We have known joy. We can face this storm together. Let our love be the anchor that holds us." Struggling against the elements, neighbors trickled to her side, their expressions full of doubt yet filled with conviction. Each person brought courage, and soon, they formed a chain of hands, a living testament to their unity, a resistance against the chaos outside. In that moment of connection, Sarah felt a warmth settle around them, an unshakable presence. They began to pray aloud, voices rising above the noise, an unyielding chorus lifting faith against the storm. As they prayed, the wind seemed to still. With each word, light began to pierce through the thick clouds, illuminating their joined hands. A strange peace enveloped them. They were no longer just responding to the storm, they were proclaiming their faith amidst it, but just then, a thought gnawed at Sarah's heart. What if the storm was not just a test of their strength, but a divine revelation waiting to unfold? What awaited them on the other side? And beneath the crackling sky, she wondered, could their collective faith be the key to unlocking a miracle so great that it would change their village, perhaps even the world forever? The mystery deepened, yet hope shimmered bright in their grip. As they faced the gathering clouds, their trust hung in the balance, yearning for what was to come. The wind surged with an intensity that matched the rising stakes in Sarah's heart. Bound by their clasped hands, the villagers stood together, a single entity preparing to face whatever lay ahead. As thunder roared above, she felt an unyielding resolve welling up inside her. "Let us not fear the storm." Sarah's voice rang out strong, resonating through the hearts of those around her. "With faith, we can witness the extraordinary." Lightning flickered, and the villagers exchanged nervous glances, yet something kept them rooted where they stood. Unlike mere instinct, it was faith, an inexplicable, divine assurance that wrapped around them like a warm embrace. Standing under the heavy clouds, Sarah felt the energy of their collective spirit magnifying her words. "If we stand together, the storm cannot break us. It is in our unity that we forge strength." With each utterance, her conviction deepened, as if the very ground beneath their feet pulsed with the heartbeat of a greater truth. The rain started to batter down, but instead of retreating into their homes, the villagers lifted their voices higher, singing hymns woven with hope. Their song of praise seemed to shimmer in the air, a tangible reflection of their faith. Sarah joined them, pouring her heart into the melody, the words soaring above the storm, an offering of trust and gratitude. In that moment, as divine light cut through the clouds, she could feel the spirit of the radiant figure beside her. "This is the revelation," she thought, suddenly awakened to a deeper understanding that whispered from within. The storm was not just a challenge, it was a chance to reaffirm their love for one another, to manifest their faith in action, to change everything. As the rain fell heavier, something extraordinary began to happen. A miracle emerged in the chaos. An ancient oak tree, standing tall beyond the village square, crackled with energy. Its leaves shimmering like jewels, it seemed to pulse with a rhythm that echoed the hearts of the villagers, intertwining their hopes and prayers into a single divine frequency. "What is happening?" someone gasped, eyes wide in wonder. The aura surrounding the tree grew brighter with every word they sang. "Look!" Sarah pointed, heart racing as she saw the transformation. The wood glowed with a brilliant light, stirring an energy that reached out toward them, inviting their faith to fill the space between them and the storm. She felt the air thick with expectation, a divine promise unfolding. "Could this be the miracle we seek?" whispered an elder beside her, voice trembling yet laced with awe. What if this tree is a beacon, a sign of hope that our unity has summoned?" The villagers began to draw closer, entranced by the oak's glow, a vivid reminder that faith holds the power to harness the divine. As they moved together, Sarah felt each individual's heartbeat sync with her own, a wave of peace washed over them, but even amidst the joy of this moment, the question lingered: what did this miracle mean? Did it signify that they were destined to become a beacon of faith in their world? And further still, could their love and unity spark something that transcended their little village and rippled through the lands beyond? With these thoughts swirling, excitement thrummed in the air, yet anxiety painted the edges of their bliss. They stood on the precipice of something greater, awaiting a sign, waiting for the next divine step. Where would it lead them, now that their hearts were united against the storm? What awaited them beyond this extraordinary oak? And would they have the faith to step forward into the burgeoning light that beckoned them? The storm began to clear as the villagers stood together, unified by hope and anticipation. Sarah felt the energies swirling around them begin to soften, like the gentle sigh of the earth during a longed-for dawn. The ancient oak, now radiant with divine light, emanated warmth and reassurance, bathing their faces in a glow that spoke of miracles and blessings. "Embrace this moment," Sarah called, her voice ringing out with clarity and purpose. "This tree is our sign. It reminds us that through our faith, unity, and love, there is nothing we cannot withstand." Each villager felt the truth of her words resonate deep within their hearts. The doubts that had once plagued them dissipated like fog in the morning sun. One by one, they approached the glowing tree, hands reaching out to touch the rough bark, feeling the sentience that pulsed beneath their fingertips. Each connection ignited a spark of energy that danced among them, intertwining their stories, their prayers, and their desires. "May our burdens be lifted by this sacred moment," a young woman shouted, embracing the oak, her tears mingling with the rainwater collected at its roots, a symbol of their transformation. As they leaned against the tree, Sarah closed her eyes, surrendering to the collective energy. She envisioned the river of love flowing between them, binding their spirits in shared grace. The branches of the oak swayed gently, echoing their hopes and aspirations. They sought to heal the wounded and transform despair into light, the very essence of St. Jude's teachings. Suddenly, a wind swept through the clearing, spiraling around them like an inviting embrace. Deep within its currents, a voice spoke, resonating like the gentle rustle of leaves: "Faith flourishes in the face of adversity. This is your call to be light-bearers for those lost in darkness." In that profound moment, the villagers held each other close, hearts beating as one, steeped in purpose. "Together, we are the living embodiment of hope," Sarah exclaimed, a surge of inspiration propelling her words. "Let us go forth and share this light with those who suffer. Let us be vessels, spreading the seeds of love that can heal and unite our community." With renewed spirits, they pledged to spread compassion, reaching out to the forgotten souls in the shadows. They gathered supplies, food, and joyful offerings, embracing a mission that transcended their village, a commitment to be messengers of hope far and wide. The miracle was not just in the tree, it was in the awakening of their hearts. As day transitioned into night, glowing lanterns filled the village streets. Sarah watched the glow of each candle reflect in the eyes of her neighbors, their laughter weaving a soundscape of joy and connection. They moved as a caravan of faith, reaching out to those in need, breathing life into each stop along their journey. With every act of kindness, the villagers witnessed true miracles unfold. A mother, once disheartened, found solace in her community as they brought warmth to her home. An elderly man, too long alone, felt adored when they enveloped him in laughter and love. In these simple exchanges, they imparted divine light, healing hearts through the power of togetherness. Days turned into weeks, and the village blossomed into a haven of joy. Sarah felt transformed. The face of her son, once shadowed by pain, now radiated laughter and vibrant life. Their home echoed with light and play, a testimony to their shared faith, but the quiet whispers of doubt never fully diminished. "Is this sustainable?" Sarah pondered some nights. "Will we falter back into fear?" Yet every time fear approached, she was reminded of the radiant oak, a visual anchor for her faith. Then came another storm, a real one, shrouded by dark clouds as nature itself threatened to test their resolve. But this time, they were ready. The community gathered at the village square, fortified by their previous trials, a tapestry of strength before the tempest. "We've faced storms before," Sarah shouted above the rising winds. "What was fear before has become strength. We stand united in faith, our light goes before us." As thunder rolled yet again, a collective cheer erupted, brave hearts ready to confront what may lie ahead, and just like that, with a fervor born from deep within, they joined hands once more, surrounding their glowing oak, lifting their voices high against the encroaching violence of the storm. With faith, we cannot be broken. Send your strength and love into the world. Their chants barely kept the wind at bay, yet the warmth radiated amongst them, building an indomitable spirit within. The oak stood sentinel, embodying the manifestation of their faith, each villager feeling its silent strength anchoring them. Together, they witnessed the storm's wrath subside, clouds yielding to a vibrant sky, a renewed promise of blessings ushering in a glorious dawn. When the skies finally opened, the villagers stood beneath the transforming sun. They realized in that moment the miraculous power woven through their unity stretched far beyond their village. They had sparked a movement through love, hope, and unwavering faith, eternally connected by the spirit of St. Jude. Now living through their transformation, the air was electric with possibilities, leaving them poised on the threshold of something extraordinary. As each villager turned to gaze at one another, envisioning the impact of what they could achieve together, Sarah's heart swelled with joy and gratitude. They had unlocked the true, miraculous secret of faith. Transformation is never solitary, it thrives in unity, igniting the world one heart at a time. In every prayer, we've planted seeds, she thought, and together, we shall reap a divine harvest. With that conclusion echoing in their hearts, the villagers turned to the horizon, knowing that their journey had only just begun, their love a beacon lighting the way forward into an incredible future. Now, to every viewer watching this message, we, too, invite you to embrace your role in this divine tapestry. Subscribe immediately to the channel to not miss the next exclusive faith stories. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and spread this message far and wide. Comment your reactions and testimonies about how faith has transformed your life, and share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this manifestation of unwavering hope. You need to support this mission. Don't wait even one more second to dive into this journey of faith. Only true servants of God understand the importance of these actions.